The proposed changes are really moving back to a system which many of us remember, something we did a very long time ago when it was called O-levels. We're really looking at a type of exam that is based entirely, in many cases, on terminal assessment. That's a sit-down examination at the end of the course, rather than coursework, which is what currently people do. Now, there will be an element of coursework, we're told, in some subjects where it's appropriate, but in most subjects it will be very much going back to a written exam, which is very much based on the recall of knowledge. So it's a very traditional sort of approach, the exam. It's going to be introduced in a small number of subjects first of all, apparently in 2015, although that is a very, very tight timescale, with people first sitting it in 2017, and then it will be extended to other subjects beyond there. It will also have a different grading system. I think the problem with them is that the profession has not been properly consulted in the planning of these examinations at all. We've had no input, and you find that rather surprising for me to be saying, as somebody who represents more than 17,000 leaders of secondary schools across the country. We have not been involved in that process. They're being rushed in. And the thing that is really the most astonishing thing about these qualifications is that we don't yet know the detail of the curriculum that is going to be taught to prepare people for these examinations. So, in my view, it's a completely topsy-turvy approach of starting with the examination before the curriculum has been designed. Well, I think the point here is that GCSE has been a very successful qualification, but it's been around for a long time, and there's nothing wrong with reviewing that qualification and looking in a changing world where we need to be raising standards all the time to compete with other economies, and the changing world of technology and so on, that it's right to actually look at that examination and see whether we can improve it further. What we don't agree with is the idea that the examination needs to be scrapped and completely replaced with something different, and particularly something that, in our view, is very much a retrograde step, and it's not doing what we really need, which is to have a proper combination of knowledge and skills, because that's what employers tell us all the time that they need. Well, we need to compete with other countries, of course we do, and I mentioned the global economy because, yes, the economy is moving quickly, technology is moving quickly, the workplace is changing, we need different types of people at work. So yes, we should be competing with other countries, but most other countries are moving away from this kind of examination to a much broader sort of curriculum, and what we need is a proper, reasoned and mature debate about what the curriculum should entail, and then we should be competing with those countries, but competing in what we teach and what our students know and can do, rather than going on about the content of the examination. And when we look at other countries, we must look at all aspects of their practice and not just cherry pick little bits of evidence. Well, making exams harder doesn't increase standards, and it can actually demotivate students and lead to more failure and more unemployment and more people who aren't in employment or training or education. So I absolutely don't accept that making exams harder will do that. What I think we need to do is improve the quality of teaching further. We've got very good practice going on. We've made lots of progress over recent years. We need to really build up the experience we've got to share the very best practice, to get the best possible teaching across the board, and then standards will rise, and then yes, we can make our assessments more challenging, because we will have prepared students to meet those higher standards, and they'll be reaching them and succeeding, and they'll be motivated in the process. I think teachers are very worried about these changes indeed. A lot of teachers simply don't feel that they've been part of the proposals, they don't feel they've been consulted, and they don't feel that their professional expertise has been used. So I think a lot of teachers will be feel very disenfranchised by these proposals. At the end of the day, teachers will do what they're required to do in the best interests of the students, and if these are the exams we've got, that's what they'll teach. But I don't think it's a way to guarantee the best possible standards in our school system.